So I never visited Wisconsin.
Really?
No. What? I've had 4 Final Four trips, 4 Big Tens, 1 national championship. You stick with the things you're passionate about. It doesn't have to be the things other people want you to do.
Right.
Well, thanks, Izzy, for being here. This is our first ever podcast. It's the Athletes in Sports podcast, and we just got done with an amazing camp, the Izzy Ashburn in Sports Day, and that was the first volleyball camp that we ever put on. So thank you for hosting us and having us here at MN Select. And we got Chad Welk here from Athlusion, Bridget Martini-Smith with In Sports. I'm Max. But Izzy, that obviously wasn't the first camp that you've ever ran. When did you start getting into volleyball camps for kids?
Yeah, I started some volleyball camps when I was just coming home for like the holidays in college and just putting on smaller camps. But last year I got to put on a really big camp here at Select, and they also donated courts for that, which is awesome. Incredible. And a lot of coaches donated their time, but we did 5 camps in one day, and it was just like one after the next and 15 minutes between. Anybody could sign up, and all of the profit actually went to my old high school coach that was having some medical difficulties at the time. And it was just incredible that so many coaches got to come here and volunteer their time for such a great cause, and they got to donate the courts. And he's not even a coach here. It's just incredible to see the community come together. And
that's awesome.
I feel like you don't realize how small the community is until you're in it and you're seeing familiar faces or hearing stories of like girls that I used to coach when I was still in high school, and I would help out at their teams, and they're here today and they're like showing me old pictures of us together or just old stories. It's just incredible.
Well, I saw a little girl, I think she was 9, and her dad showed me a picture of her here last year with you and her friends. So that was kind of cool just to be able to relive that for that family. So so when did you get into volleyball? Like when did you find like, hey, this is a sport that I really want to continue playing and that you were passionate about?
Yeah, in 2nd grade, I started playing volleyball because my mom ran like our house league, CDAA kind of stuff. It wasn't super serious. It was just at local like elementary schools, and I got to play with a bunch of my friends. My mom played in college, so she had the league, took over. She was my coach for a while. It was just very rotate, play your position, get to know the sport a little bit, be with some of your like local friends. And then in 4th grade, I started playing club volleyball for just another small local club, and we'd travel a little bit just in state. And then I would say like I got serious with volleyball in middle school, and I was playing at Crossfire for a while, and I really knew in middle school that I wanted to play collegiate volleyball. I didn't know what that looked like yet, but I knew I wanted to play as long as I could. I played so many other sports too. So
what other sports did you play?
I played basketball, volleyball, and softball in middle school.
Okay.
And then in high school I dropped softball and I did track with that.
Okay.
But like growing up I did gymnastics, skating, taekwondo, tennis, anything I could be in. I was just put in with all my siblings.
Great.
My parents would just drop us off and be like, have fun. Yeah. And then in high school I also did band, so I would do like some of the pep band stuff. I was in like math league, ski and snowboard club. Anything I could be involved in, I just wanted to be involved in. But I knew I wanted to play college volleyball. I would say in middle school is when I kind of was like, basketball might not be it. I think volleyball is like where I want to be, the people I want to be around, the sport I love. And got pretty serious about recruiting. End of 8th grade, started going on visits my freshman year of high school.
Wow.
Yeah, it was different. This doesn't happen anymore because they set some new rules.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The recruiting cycle for volleyball is completely insane.
It's absolutely wild. I mean, we could do it as early as we wanted. Now it's junior year it starts. And I didn't commit until my sophomore year, but I went on visits all the time.
I didn't.
What is it,
way to not pull the
15,
trigger on
16
that
years
quick.
old?
Yeah, pretty young, but I mean, it felt like it was a long, like 2-year process of being recruited. I visited Santa Barbara, Temple, Illinois State, North Dakota, Concordia, St. Paul, Loyola, Chicago. I went everywhere I could.
How did you decide where you're going to take visits?
Yeah.
Anybody that would offer me, basically. My
So
parents
you're
were.
on a plane?
What was it?
You were just bam on a plane.
Yeah,
Temple offers you
basically.
there.
My parents were like, I mean, if this is what you want to do, we'll go with you. We'll see the campus. If it's something you want to do, then if it's the right fit, then let's do it. And so I would just went.
So early was like scary, or you're like, nope, I know this is where I want to go. Like
Yeah.
when you walked on the campus, where you're like, oh, this felt like right.
So I never visited Wisconsin.
Really?
No. What? I went to team camp there because I played with somebody that was already going there. And so early on, I mean, I'd been to team camp, but I never like went on a visit. And so I had gone on all these other visits, and all of Big Ten was like, you're too small, you're too, like, we can't take you here. I was like 5'6" going into high school. And then,
aren't you like 5'11" or 2?
yeah, I'm like 5'9", 5'10".
Okay.
I lie
With
on
good
my
shoes, right?
roster,
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Everyone gets an inch.
you get a
But I'm like
couple
the third
inches.
shortest on our team now.
Wow.
And so I was pretty small going into high school, and coaches were saying, you're too small, you're whatever, you're not at the level. And eventually at the end, I was just in like a really weird place with recruiting. I kind of felt stuck, and Iowa, Nebraska, and Wisconsin all came with offers. And I visited Iowa. I had a visit set up with Nebraska, and then I was about to fly out to some of the USA stuff, and at the airport, my mom was like, you got to do what you got to do. My dad wanted me to wait for my visit to to Nebraska before I'd committed to Wisconsin. And I was at the airport alone, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. And then I called my coach, committed, called my parents, told them I committed, went to
You
play,
told
and
your coach before you told your parents?
sure did. Yeah.
Hey, you can do whatever you want when you're 16, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
I was like, that kind of felt like the go ahead. So my mom was kind of like, if that's what you want to do, we'll support it. I felt like I knew it was where I wanted to be, and they supported me with it. And I mean, it was the right decision. Like looking back at it,
right?
and
Right.
my parents were always super great about too. Like if it's not the right decision, you learn a lot. You can always find a way out or somewhere else or a better fit. And I mean, I'm super grateful I never had to, but it's a reality of college sports. We commit so young that transferring is getting bigger and bigger.
So having your mom, like going back to like the young days, did you love your mom being a coach? Did you not? Like my son now, he's 5, and he's like, Mom, I can do this. Like I'm like, are you sure you don't need some help? So like, how was that like dynamic?
Yeah, it wasn't super competitive volleyball, so I
Yeah.
think it was fun. Like I was just with my friends. I played with the same girls throughout. A lot of them played club with me after. I don't think it was that big of a deal. And my friends' dads and my dad coached us in basketball and softball too, so we were kind of always around that. And I didn't feel like anything too big when I was younger. I knew my mom knew the sport at least, so I thought that was good. She's also like learning the sport as I go and getting updated with it, which is great. And my parents are super involved. They've been crazy supportive throughout college. Like, honestly, I was talking to my coach at the end about how their support has actually changed the trajectory of like my college career. I think it's super easy.
Like, that's so sweet.
It's super easy to like hear the comments that your parents say or the people around you that like saying, oh, you deserve better, or you should be playing more, or you should have that spot, or your stats say this or this and that. And my parents were always like, you wait your turn and you just keep working. Like you just keep working, and if you just keep going, like that spot will come. And I think that honestly, I was telling my coach, like, I think transferring would have been a thought of mine, but it never really was, because my parents were always like, you will get the spot you deserve. You just keep working at it. And I mean, I was a serving sub I was a DS my first year, serving sub the next 2, and I was only passing, and then my last 2 I was setting, and I've only ever set my life. So
That's
they kept me in
outliers
it.
mindset for sure. I mean, it's so easy for, to get caught up in the noise. And it's fantastic.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Well, and there's so many youth parents out there that just go crazy for their 7-year-old's basketball game, and it's like, so for your parents to do that at the collegiate level, that probably made it really easy for you to stay calm when you had adversity.
Did you feel like that was a norm? Like were other parents players, and we don't have to get into that all, but right? But it's like, just curious if that was like, oh, yep, that's just like how it was.
Not necessarily. I think I've played with both types of, I would say, like people that have their support system like at college as well. Like we're around so many other athletes, and if you're around the people that do speak that way, I think that it can be really easy to fall into that mindset as well.
Absolutely.
But it also did help. I had so many siblings growing up that, I mean, they kind of, I have 4 siblings. I'm the second of 5. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, their mindset as well, like my older brother was a big marching band kid. He played football until his sophomore year of high school. My dad was the sophomore football coach. He stopped and joined the marching band. He was a big math nerd as well. And I mean, he went for the things he was interested in and what he was passionate about, and my parents supported that. So just seeing that, like, what you're passionate about, you can go into, and just the hard work will get you there. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but like if you stick with the things you're passionate about, it doesn't have to be the things other people want you to do.
Right. That's so powerful too, though. I mean, like you said, you tried and did everything. Like, how do you feel like that kind of shaped you into who you are now?
Yeah, like I said, in college, I actually switched positions. So I switched to passer. I went into my coach's office after my freshman year, and I was like, hey, our libero's gone, or just graduated. We have one DS that's probably going to be libero this next year, but there's an opening, and like, there's not an opening in setting, and I know that if I'm playing, then I beat somebody out. If I'm not playing, at least I'm pushing the people ahead of me. But I knew that I was going to work so hard in passing that I'm starting from the bottom, but I'm going to get to a level that I'm going to either push people ahead of me or get on the court myself doing that. And that was kind of my mindset going to that. But we used a lot of different sports analogies for me to learn the movements and the different skills within it. We talked a lot about like being a catcher and dropping a knee, or going for a pop fly in the outfield, or basketball, like the defensive shuffle backwards. So there were a lot of like connections in that I'm happy that I knew those movements before, rather than just solely relying on like learning new motor skills.
Right. Gosh, I feel like that. Not every kid also gets to do that, because I feel like nowadays you have to be specialized so young. Where it's like, okay, if you don't play hockey at age 4, you're
If
not
you don't know
going
how
to
to
play.
skate, you can't play hockey.
Right, you're not going to be able to play. But
I think it's that, and it's also like positions. Like people get so stuck in positions young, and it's like, what if you don't grow after 6th grade, or like you might need to know different skills if that's what you want to stick with, and it sucks that that's the reality of it. And I mean, there are outliers in that as well, but I just think it's really good to be well-rounded in whatever sport you choose.
Okay, now you talked about math, and you seem, I mean, I've heard just you talking to Chad, like you're a little bit of a math nerd. What makes you interested in the math side of things?
So I actually did statistics.
Why math?
Right.
I did statistics actually when I first got to college. I knew I was going to be something statistician-ish.
Okay.
I did that for my first 2.5 years there, and then I was going through like some of my requirements to graduate, and I was like applying for graduation and all of that, and I realized I was 2 classes away from a math degree, and I was like, maybe I should just switch to that. And so I switched over just for my last semester, and then I knew I wanted to be done at the end of my 3rd year so that I could get into this master's program it's a 1-year business analytics program, and that was like my actual passion. So I knew that would be a good route to get me into that, and so I applied, did that for a year, and then I had 1 class this last semester just to keep me eligible and not have to start another master's with a full credit semester.
Right. I literally took the only business major that I didn't have to take calculus. Like that was my goal. Like I don't want to do a bunch of math
and
classes.
we're like, Izzy, can you come help me?
Yeah, it definitely helped. My mom is in like business analytics stuff.
Okay.
She's a stats master's degree and works for Target and does all of that for some fraud analytics stuff, so that helped. I also was pretty far ahead in high school with all of my math stuff. I was supposed to take Calc 3 my senior year because our high school pushes it ahead so much. So that also helped going into college. I had like 32 credits going in already.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so just pushing that ahead really early on actually made my workload a lot lighter in college, which was nice because I was stressed in high school with school.
Yeah.
So
Would you say you were more stressed in high school than college for like class-wise, or like how did you balance? I mean, being D1, you're traveling all over the place, right? Like, how did you balance the academics and like the athletic side of things?
Yeah, it's hard. Honestly, I have to look back a little bit for it to be hard for finding that balance, but I think people don't see that we do travel the day before, and yeah, we travel private, it's nice traveling. Like, the travel that we do is the best traveling you can have.
Not on a
but
school bus.
But it's travel, right?
It's travel. You're missing 2-3 days of school every week. We have girls that didn't go to their Friday class until the last 2 weeks of school this year because our travel was so hard. But I think like what I try to focus on is when I'm doing school, I'm doing school. Like that is my only focus, because I know that when I'm getting that done and it's efficient, it's my best work, I can go into practice with a much more clear head.
Yep.
And then I have time to do things that I'm excited about outside of volleyball that maybe make me a little happier going to the gym, or I can do a little bit more private lesson time in the gym or work in small groups in the gym. So it clears so much up if you can just sit down, focus, get it done, and understand it so you're not stressed at the end of the semester about tests and passing and all of that. But it is really hard. I'm really grateful. This last semester was really tough with our schedule though, because we were on TV so much. So it's just gonna continue getting tougher. The Big Ten's gonna continue getting tougher with the travel they're gonna have to do across the country. And I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but we also have a really good support system. We have tutors, we have academic advisors, we have proctors that travel with us, we have people that put our schedules together. it's really good. That doesn't change that. It is tough though.
They got the system down.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I mean, there's people that have been through it for years. I come in, there's 5th years there, and they kind of walk you through it. They'll show you around campus. They'll bring you to class. They'll help you out when you have to leave early for a test, or our coaches are really understanding about that too. And I mean, grades do matter at Wisconsin, and I think that was super important as well in my picking of the school.
Right, because I think the perception is like you're a D1 college athlete. You might not be doing a lot of school, but it doesn't sound like that.
Yeah,
for
no.
you.
I mean, we have girls that transfer and they're like, I didn't realize that my other school isn't very hard, and like they're here now and they're like,
there's
it's
a big
tough.
difference
Yeah,
in
Wisconsin.
schools.
Like I don't have that perspective, but I mean, it's hard.
Yeah, it's much easier to go from more difficult to easy versus the other way around.
Right,
So, yeah.
right. Well, I think what was super powerful during our Be the Best You session out with all the kids is like all about intentionality, like being in the moment, like what you're focusing on, like you're focusing on school, if that's what you're doing, you're focusing on volleyball, you're with friends. Like I think that's so powerful. Like how was your dynamic of like your group at Wisconsin? Like the players, like how did they impact your career there?
Yeah, we're a super close team. I mean, all 5 years I've been there has been a completely different group, but every team I've been on is super close. I feel like everybody wants to say that, but like we do genuinely choose to live together. We choose to hang out outside of things. We choose to come in the gym on our own together. Like it's not, we don't really get sick of each other too much or choose to go to the locker room and just hang out for a little bit. And we have this thing at Wisconsin though called the Championship Manual, and we go over it at the beginning of every season, read it popcorn style, and you learn new things every time you read it. But it's basically like a set of rules, or I wouldn't say rules because it's team discussed. It's things that we set into place and kind of expectations for everybody. And it's a lot of it just explains like the locker room's a safe space. We're not going in there to be negative and complain and do things that bring others down. Like that should be a safe space that we can go in with a clear head and ready for practice and ready to go, and you're not dragging others down with you. We talk about the expectation of like your communication with the coaches, or expectation of sleep or lift, or there's so many little things that you don't realize that go into it. And looking back, I'm like, wow, that was strict. And it's like, no, it's just the expectation. It's just like, that is the bare minimum that you expect out of yourself, but you also expect it out of other people.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really healthy. But when I explain it to other people, they're like, wow, like that was tough. And I'm like, I mean, it's what you do.
Not when it's your lifestyle.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
when you all have a common goal and you all want to win championships, I think that's what it takes, and it's showing that that's what it takes. So buying into that right away and having older people that buy into it, it's really hard to go against it. Yeah.
And you guys made it to the Final Four this year, and you won the national championship your sophomore
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so, those things that you guys are doing, have to like bring you into that championship mindset. So just talk about like that season that you did win the national championship. Like what was that season different than any other season you had, or was it just that's how Wisconsin volleyball is?
Yeah, I don't think it was too different, honestly. I think that's just what we do. I mean, the result was obviously incredible, but we've won my first 4 years. We won the Big Ten all 4 years. And then my freshman year, we lost the national championship. My sophomore year, we lost in the Final Four. That was COVID season.
Okay.
My junior year, we won it. My fourth year, I guess, we lost in the Elite Eight. And then this last year, we lost in the Final Four. So I've had 4 Final Four trips, 4 Big Tens,
That's crazy.
1 national championship. And I mean, it just shows that new group comes in, a lot of transfers come in, coaching staff stays the same, and the culture stays the same. And obviously, dynamic changes a little bit with every group, with every little tweak you have. But the expectations are the same. The work is the same. The common goal is the exact same. And I mean, it's a really fun gym to be in.
Awesome. Do you feel like the freshmen, sophomores, do you think Wisconsin volleyball has got a good future with the group that's there right now?
Oh, 100%. I think transfers obviously are unexpected.
Yeah.
From our point of view, at least. And we can see the freshman class that's going to come in this next year. It's a big one. The next one is going to be a big one as well. It's going to be a lot of fresh faces and a lot of new personalities. So I'm excited to like hear about the dynamic of the team or some of the things that they go through, because even right now, we had an older team this last year, but like looking back, some of the things you go through as a team, it just brings you so much closer. And it's things I'm grateful for. Like in the moment, you're like, I don't want to do this, but yeah, you look back and like even a week later, you're like, remember when our coach did this, or like remember we had to do this because we did this, and I'm curious to see like their stories. I mean, I'm close with a lot of them, so I mean, keeping in contact with them and supporting them whatever they need. That's the support I had from a lot of seniors that left, and just talking you through things that really puts things into perspective when you talk to somebody outside of it that's been through it. Like, they get it, but they'll be like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, you're probably overthinking certain things, or here's the answer, you just can't see it from where you're at right now. And I think it's a really good support system to have.
Yeah, I think that's probably a life lesson for a lot of people. Like, you're probably overthinking things if you're thinking like too hard, just in general.
Just in general.
But now, okay, so it's been what, 2 weeks since the season ended, so you probably haven't had a ton of time to reflect on like what's
like
your
forever ago. Oh wow.
What's up next? But do you kind of have an idea of like what's next for Izzy? What's next for you?
Yeah, I've been talking about it a little bit today about I decided college so early, and I don't really have a set plan right now for after college, but I'm not stressed about it. Like, I feel like I should be stressed, but I feel like I'm in a really good place. I feel really prepared for whatever I want to do. I've been in the gym every single day, helping, coaching, playing. I'm still talking about maybe playing pro a little bit, whether that's in the States or overseas, and then applying for some analytics jobs. So wherever it brings me to, I don't feel too stressed, too pressured right now. I'm living at home. I have a middle school brother, a high school brother. My sister goes to college and lives at home. My older brother's home. So it's
busy.
It's fun to get to support them, though, because, I mean, they've made the trip to Madison hundreds of times. So supporting them and their stuff and kind of figuring it out, taking my time with it. I've never really had this much downtime, but starting to get a little antsy and just finding things to do, things that I'm passionate about.
I think once again that goes back to like your just intentionality. You're like, okay, I'm done. Now I'm going to be home and be present with my family. And I think that's super powerful.
Thanks.
Super, super cool.
So, Izzy, if you had some advice to give a kid, could be, a kid who's 5 years old, maybe middle schooler, maybe they are a volleyball player and they're getting into high school and thinking about college, like, could be any age, but like, what advice, like looking back at your life and your sports journey, what's some advice that you would give to a younger kid?
I mean, obviously I said try a lot of things, try a lot of positions, try a lot of sports, but I think that just leads you to finding what you're passionate about. It doesn't have to be a sport. It can be a hobby. It can be whatever you want it to be, whatever you find interest in. But I think that that's when people are the happiest, and that's when people are the most successful, when they're doing the thing that they love and that they're passionate about and want to keep growing in and learning in. And I think it can also be tough with other people's expectations to, I think some like parents or some people outside of your life can be like, oh, sport should be it. But like I said, I have siblings that have chosen other things and they're so happy. My older brother's going to be a college professor for math. And it's like, he's the happiest person doing that. He's so passionate about it. And it's so fun to hear other people's passions and to see them successful in what they're doing. I would also say, if you want to play collegiate volleyball, just reach out to as many people as you can. You're doing your work. You're doing your work. You're going to get picked up, and just reach out, because the worst somebody can say to you is no.
Right.
Like, I would send out hundreds of emails before every tournament and just be like, please come watch me play. Like, please come. And I'd maybe get a couple responses. Some of them might have been no's, and it's like, you move on. Then that's off the list. You're still going to keep going. You're still going to have that chance, and it's just one step in your journey.
Yeah, it's all kind of a numbers game, and like that relates a lot to business. Like, if you are in sales or you're trying to ask your boss for a raise or you're interviewing for jobs, like, it all relates back to how many contacts, how many people how many people can get you to where your goals are and what you want to do. And it sounded like the amount of visits that you went on as looking at your college, like, you made those contacts.
Yeah, it was a lot.
People knew who you were.
Yeah, I was also talking to Chad earlier about a Kobe video that we watched. All athletes like leaving Wisconsin had to watch it this last year. It was like a life after sports. And it was just him saying that he wasn't sad when basketball was done because he had so many other passions that he found while playing that he did not define himself as the sport. Right. And I think it's really easy for us to, our whole life is so consumed in our sport. And I mean, my life has been consumed in volleyball the last 5 years. And probably before that, I was in the gym. Like, I would be in the gym after school every day in high school or doing whatever I could. And that's great. But I've also found things that I love outside of it. I'm happy with my master's. I love to run. I'm setting goals. Like, I want to run a marathon in the next couple of years. I want to travel a little bit and see different places. I want to run some camps. I want to do some privates. I want to stay involved in the sport. And I think that it's so important to find those passions before you leave so you don't feel stuck or where to start on those things. So I'm happy with how I did it. I feel very prepared for the world, and I I mean, wherever that leads me to, I'm not too stressed about my next steps.
Well, if you need training for a half marathon or a marathon next,
Not the one you wanted to ask.
just ran grandma's and just trained about 2 miles a day. So we'll get there.
Nice.
That's not the right way to do it.
Not the right way to do it.
You need to go
I have it in
longer.
my training plan.
I did the grandma's half marathon, and I only ran, the furthest I ran at one point was 2 miles. I did a lot of 2-mile runs to train.
For a
but I never
13.
did
That's the
like
farthest you ran.
in the same day?
no, like multiple days, but I never ran over 2 miles in one
In
day.
one 24-hour period,
Yes.
you never ran more than 2 miles.
No.
And then I ran
a half.
Did you finish?
I did finish, but
That's all that matters.
But I could barely walk after.
I'm in the stands. I'm like, yeah, Max. And he didn't even look. He's like trucking
Just
along.
dialed in. Dialed in.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
That's so good.
But so worth it, though. I mean, just such fun things. I mean, both of us being college athletes, we're like, oh, yeah, we can do that. And I'm glad I've ran a couple. And I think it's the Duluth Grandmas. If you can get in, Izzy, that's the one to do.
I'm about to try it this
It's
next
steadily
week.
downhill. It's got a great view of the
Oh, yeah.
Lake Superior, and it's
You got to
usually
go
not
uphill
super
at some
hot.
point, though, don't you?
You do
There
have to
is a
go
little,
uphill, which
yeah,
tricks
there's
you.
like at the end, and it's kind of at the end, but the beginning, it's nice, steady, gradual downhill, and then there's like a little shot up, and it hurts.
I ran the St. Louis Marathon,
Oh, when?
2005.
Okay.
And I couldn't walk for like a month after that. I'm not kidding. I'm built for comfort now. It's not. It's no. Yeah.
Do you want to get mad at me?
No joke.
What's up?
I was born in 2000.
I'm not mad at you at all.
Oh, thank God.
So like, yeah, I was 7. Yeah.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you.
No, but I just
Everybody's like, you're a 2000, baby. Like,
Yeah, you're in the century. Wow. That does age us. But well, we have one kind of last question we want to ask you. If you had like $1,000 to change sports or to make an impact like in sports, what would you use it for? What would you do with that?
oh, wow. I think something that I had growing up that I don't think a lot of places have is the league of volleyball that I played when I was younger that I started in. We have almost every sport of that at a house league level. That is such an introduction to different sports and to different people around. And I think that was super impactful, that I was able to try soccer, basketball, volleyball, hockey. Like I could literally try whatever sport I wanted to for, I'm assuming, pretty cheap. And we could meet all the different people that we were going to play with or go to school with, or people that you might not come across. And I think that had such a big impact. And I talked to other people about it, and they're like, no, I didn't start volleyball until I paid for JOs and took a shot. And I think that it's just so hard to see that from like where we're at, that has such a big impact on people that probably can't afford JOs from a young age just to take a chance at playing and making a team. And yeah, I mean, that's right away where my head went to. But
just getting kids exposed to different
Yeah.
sports, and how
from
do
a
you-
young age.
Yeah, and how do you think? Like, how could that look? Like, how could you get more kids opportunities like that?
I think small camps like we just did, I think could be a really good introduction to sports. I mean, you could put on a similar camp at basketball or at a tennis court or anything, and just touching a ball, getting to know the people, some of the skills. It might be the first step in somebody being passionate about it and taking it a long way and going to play collegiately, going to play professionally. I think that a lot of people that you see are successful start that way.
Yeah.
And I think that it's overlooked a lot because you look at the competitive traveling, the traveling around the country, the USA stuff, all of those things. And it's really like where we started and where we gained access to the sport.
Yeah. Well, we have a surprise for you. So through our In Sports Foundation, we want to give $1,111 in honor of your favorite number, 11, to help your sports passion, like what you just talked about. So we'll help you with how that looks, how we can get more kids access to all these different sports, and we're going to help raise more money to grow that fund.
Thank you. That's incredible. I was like,
But
That's
we'd love
incredible.
to do that because, like, when Bridget and I were in college and we started this In Sports Foundation, like, we just wanted to give back to kids, and we call it Play It Forward. So we want to find ways to be able to give back to athletes like you to just keep living your dream and do the things that helped you get to where you are. And not all kids have that access. So we'd love to collaborate with you on that. And
that's incredible. Thank you.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, that's actually so sweet. I was like, okay, this hypothetical. No, that's so sweet. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Well, we're just super appreciative that you took the time out of this holiday schedule too to help us run our first volleyball camp and sit down with us on this podcast. And we just look forward to partnering with you more and more.
Yeah, thank you so much. This has been incredible. I mean, the logo stuff at the beginning, I was like, this is really cool. But then, I mean, getting to put on a camp today and see so many young faces and a lot of people that are possibly going to go to my school or to the camp or the club that I used to play at, and just people that I've been in those exact shoes, like staring up at a coach that I watched play, I think is so incredible, and it's just so full circle. So thank you so much.
Well, we're going to end with Packers or Vikings for the...
Skol.
Skull,
All right.
Skull, baby.
Chad, what are you at?
Skull, same.
All right, 4 for Skull. Love it.